I died, and I met him.
I was clinically dead for 21 minutes, and in that space between life and death, Jesus showed me something that shattered my soul. It wasn't hellfire, it wasn't angels, it was something far scarier, the truth about who we're worshiping and the names that will soon fall. You think you know what matters: your job, your followers, your dreams, your idols on screen. But when your heart stops beating and heaven opens, none of those things follow you. Only one name matters. That morning in Davao City was just another Tuesday. I had barely slept from the shift before. I left home angry after yelling at my son Josh over something so stupid, his phone addiction. Put that phone down and look at your mama when she's speaking. I snapped and he rolled his eyes. I slammed the door and rode my tricycle to the hospital in silence, angry, guilty, tired, and spiritually empty. I said a quick prayer, more like a whisper, while crossing the hospital parking lot. Lord, just get me through this day. I didn't know that would be my last prayer as the old me. By 2:47 p.m., I collapsed in the nurse's pantry. I had just finished assisting a patient with stage 4 cancer. Her eyes reminded me of my mother, full of silent pain and ready to go. I felt this strange cold pressure on my chest, like someone placed a block of cement inside me. My arms went numb. I tried to call out Marivic, but my voice betrayed me. I fell face down beside the water dispenser alone. All I could think about was how Josh would remember me. Would he remember the hug or just the argument? Would my husband Marco remember the coffee I made him every morning? Or just the distance between us lately? I remember the scent of rubbing alcohol, the flickering fluorescent lights, the smell of my own fear. Then everything went dark. But I wasn't unconscious. I was completely awake and suddenly no longer there. I saw my own body on the floor. I saw Mang Enzo, our head doctor, yelling, "Get the crash cart." I saw Marivic with tears in her eyes, performing CPR, screaming, "Gelai, Gelai, stay with us." But I felt nothing. No fear, no pain, only the echo of something eternal calling me deeper. Then came the silence, and in the silence, a light. Not just any light. It was alive. It shimmered like gold, breathed like a song, and moved like wind and fire mixed together. And in that light was a man, not just a man, the man. His eyes were like oceans of mercy. His face, I cannot describe. You don't see it with your eyes, you see it with your soul. My knees dropped without me thinking. I had no questions, only tears. Because when you're in front of perfect love, you don't ask why. You ask, how did you still want me? I thought he would condemn me, that he'd show me the file of all my sins, all my cold prayers, my judgments, my secrets. But he just looked at me and everything inside me broke and healed at the same time. Then he spoke.
My precious child, I have seen every tear you hid, every kindness you gave when no one was watching, and I still chose you.
I fell lower, weeping like a child. He came closer, and his presence filled the space like a warm sea.
You have been running on empty, Gelai, but I have never left your side.
I wanted to stay there forever, but then his tone changed. There was grief in his eyes. He looked deep into me and said,
You must see what the world refuses to see. The stars they worship are dying, and they do not know.
My spirit hovered weightless, silent above the chaos. I saw the room below like a ghost, trapped in stillness. My body was lying lifeless, beside a mop bucket on the white tile floor, my ID badge clinging to my chest as if it still wanted to shout, I'm here, I matter. But I wasn't there anymore. I was somewhere in between. Marivic was sobbing now, her hands pressing into my chest, her voice trembling in Tagalog, English, and tongues all mixed together. Mang Enzo was shouting orders, trying to hide the fear in his face. And for the first time, I realized how fragile we all really are, even the strong ones. Then I began to rise. The hospital dissolved, not physically but spiritually. The beeping, the intercoms, the footsteps all faded into a hum, then into nothing. Just velvet silence. But it wasn't empty, it was alive. I wasn't pulled, I wasn't pushed. I was invited, gently, peacefully. So I went. I passed through the dark, but it wasn't suffocating. It was warm like a blanket for the soul. I wasn't afraid. I was seen. I was held. And then, far off, there was light. At first, just a single point. Then it grew not harsh like the sun, but warm and soft like it had always known me. The closer I came, the more exposed I felt. Not ashamed, just known completely. The parts of me I hid, the wounds I forgot, my regrets, my guilt, my broken motherhood, the prayers I whispered into the bathroom mirror, all of it laid bare. But instead of rejection, I felt embrace. Instead of judgment, I felt love. The light moved, not like fire, not like mist, but like glory. And from within it, he came, a man in white, not just shining on me, but shining through me. His robe was simple, his hair dark and gentle, but his eyes were not colors, they were presence. Mercy made visible. My soul knew before my mind could speak Jesus. I collapsed, not in fear, but because every part of me wanted to be low before him. I couldn't speak, just tears. Ancient tears as if they'd waited lifetimes to fall. Then he spoke, but not with his mouth. His voice came from everywhere.
Gelai, my beloved daughter.
His voice cracked something in me. Every wall I'd built, every scar I'd hidden melted.
You have been tired for so long. You prayed out of duty, not delight. But I heard even the smallest prayer.
I trembled. Lord, I'm sorry, I whispered. I've been angry and selfish. I judged people. I forgot how to worship. I couldn't finish. But he stepped closer. He didn't scold me. He didn't list my sins. He simply opened his hand. No nails, no blood. Just light, soft, golden beating like an eternal heart. I didn't touch it, but it touched me.
I don't see your uniform, Gelai. I don't see your record. I see your heart. I see the love you gave in secret, the patience you held when no one else would, the tears you cried in the dark. I see you, and I have always loved you.
I broke, not in shame, but in overwhelming, unstoppable love. I laughed through tears, a holy kind of laughter, because suddenly I knew I had never been alone. Not in the darkest moments, not in the fights with Josh, not in the dry, tired prayers. He was always there, holding space, holding time, holding me. Please, I whispered, don't send me back. Let me stay with you. He looked deep into my soul, and then he said,
My child, there is more I must show you. Before you stay, you must see.
He took a step back, and suddenly everything changed. The warmth that had wrapped around me like a blanket began to shift. The peace remained, but now there was weight in the air, a sacred heaviness, like we had entered the holy chambers of truth, where no soul can pretend and no mask survives. I found myself standing beside him, Jesus, on what felt like a balcony suspended above the world. There were no walls, no sky, only a vast canvas of moving light and shadow beneath us. Cities flickered, oceans shimmered, nations moved like threads in a divine tapestry. I felt so small, so painfully human. Where are we? I asked, my voice barely audible. Jesus looked into the distance, his eyes full of sorrow, the kind of sorrow that eternity itself cannot carry.
This is where heaven watches, where earth's cries are heard, where mercy and justice meet.
Then he lifted his hand, and suddenly images appeared in the air before us, like a screen stretched across the sky. But they weren't just images. They pierced through me, through my soul, my thoughts, my conscience. At first, I saw joy, laughter, lights, dancing, screaming crowds, glowing phones. People cheering, raising hands, but not in worship of God, in worship of man. What is this? I whispered. A concert, a celebration. Jesus didn't turn.
It is worship, but not of me. The world has built new altars, and they bow to stars I never placed in the sky.
I looked again deeper, and I saw it clearly. The names being chanted were not his. They were names of singers, celebrities, influencers, billionaires, politicians. Social media platforms pulsed like prayer beads. Billboards stood like modern temples. This was no concert. This was a global religion of idolatry. But Lord, I asked, trembling, isn't it just entertainment? His voice remained calm, but it cut through me like a sword.
What entertains the eyes can starve the soul, and what they call just fun becomes a master they no longer question. They worship these people with their time, their trust, their attention, and yes, they are in danger.
I saw children in Manila with headphones listening to lyrics poisoning their identity. I saw mothers scrolling gossip while ignoring their crying babies. Pastors quoting movies more than scripture. And the screen flickered faster. Jesus raised his hand near my face, not touching, but I felt its holy fire.
You must see what most refuse to see. This is not about fame. This is about hearts, my people's hearts being led astray.
Then the screen froze. A face appeared, and I knew him, a global icon, a singer who shaped a generation. I know him, I whispered, shocked. Jesus nodded.
He was given a gift, a sound that could have brought light, but he chose to glorify darkness. Now he drowns in praise that cannot save him.
Then I felt it, a grief so deep, so divine, it wasn't mine. It was God's. A pain like watching your own child run into fire, smiling. I wept.
Gelai. This is a warning, but it is also a call. Many of these stars will fall not for spectacle, but for sign.
A sign? I asked. I asked, trembling. His gaze became fierce, but still burning with love.
A sign that this world is out of balance, that idolatry has become normal, even in my church. 2025 will be a year of great shaking. Many who seem untouchable will be struck down, not in wrath but in mercy, to wake the rest.
I could barely stand. I looked at the faces on the screen. Again, voices I had once admired, now looking like fragile glass ready to crack. What do? I whispered, broken.
Tell them, tell my people to pray, to lift their eyes off the temporary stars and back to the Creator of the heavens.
And just as I opened my mouth to respond, the image began to shift again. Another figure was forming. My spirit braced itself, because I knew deep inside this was only the beginning. The screen widened, and from the center emerged a man familiar, iconic worship. The crowd erupted, millions screaming, hands raised, phones lighting the sky like man-made stars. A massive stage rose into the heavens, exploding with lights and sound. And there he was, a rock legend, the kind people don't just admire, they follow like a god. I knew his face. So did the world. His music had shaped decades. His lyrics were everywhere, in shirts, in tattoos, in stadiums, in children's voices. People didn't just listen, they wept, they bowed. The atmosphere felt electric, but not holy. It was heavy, charged, with pride, empty of truth. I watched him drink in the applause, arms open wide, like a messiah receiving worship. They shouted his name louder than churches ever cried, Jesus. and something in my spirit began to feel sick. This wasn't music. This was worship, seductive, twisted, misplaced. Then the scene changed. The lights vanished. The fans disappeared. And the same man now stood alone in a cold marble mansion. No sound, no glory, just silence. He walked through gold frame halls like a ghost. Platinum records on the walls, prescription bottles on the shelves. He sat on a velvet couch, head in hand, surrounded by everything yet possessing nothing. And I felt it, the void inside him, deep, echoing, consuming. I whispered, "Why are you showing me this?"
This is the other side of fame, Gelai. The side the world refuses to see. He built his kingdom on praise. But praise without purpose is a prison.
Flashes came next. Crying women, fearful assistants, discarded friends, souls used and forgotten. Every stage conquered had cost him a piece of his humanity.
He was given a sound to heal, but he chose to hypnotize. His songs were supposed to set captives free, but they became chains instead.
I turned back to the trophies, the awards, the statues, and suddenly they looked like idols. Cold, soulless, lifeless. But he was so talented, I murmured. He changed music. Jesus nodded slowly.
Yes, but he never let me change his heart. His pride built a wall so high he cannot hear me calling.
And then I cried, not for myself, for him, for all who believed this was the dream, for those who thought fame was the finish line. He was loved by the masses, but unknown by the only one who could save him. Can he still be saved? I asked.
His hourglass is almost empty, but mercy still remains. Pray for him.
I felt the weight, the burden, a name drop into my spirit like fire, not to admire, but to intercede. The vision shifted again, flashing lights, headlines forming silence before the storm. I gasped. Wait, is he going to? Jesus lifted his hand.
It is not for you to know dates or events, but to understand the signs. When the world's idols fall, my people must not fall with them.
Everything went dark again, just silence. My heart was pounding, my knees trembled. Who's next? I asked. But I already knew, because someone was forming in the sky once again. And this time, it was a woman. The next image shimmered into view like a curtain slowly parting. This time it was softer, quieter, but no less heartbreaking. The face that appeared was instantly familiar, warm, funny, iconic. A woman who had made millions laugh. She was known for her wit, her humor, her goofy dances, her ability to brighten a room with one line. Her laugh was contagious, the kind that echoed across sitcoms, talk shows, red carpets. Even here in the Philippines, reruns of her shows still aired nightly, filling homes with joy during dinner. I smiled instinctively when I saw her. "She's so funny," I whispered. "Everybody loves her." But then the scene shifted. The cameras turned off. The laughter faded, and I saw her alone, sitting in a luxury car parked in a dark garage. Her makeup was smudged, her wig off. Her shoulders shook violently. Her body bent over the steering wheel as she sobbed loud guttural sobs, the kind that don't care who hears because they erupt from a place so deep, even language disappears. "No," I whispered. "She's not like this. Is she?" Jesus stood beside me, his eyes fixed on her.
The world sees her smile, but I see her silence. She has become a mask, a performer even to herself.
The vision deepened. I saw her backstage assistants checking her makeup, feeding her lines, laughing even when her jokes fell flat. I saw her scrolling through her phone, thousands of compliments, heart emojis, fire emojis, so much digital affection, and yet none of it touched the ache in her chest.
She is surrounded by people paid to love her, but none who know her soul. She is loved for who she pretends to be, but no one sees who she truly is.
The pain inside her was raw, like an open wound covered in glitter. I saw her standing in front of a mirror in her dressing room, laughing on cue. But when the door closed, the laughter died. Her face dropped, her body slumped. She stared into the mirror and whispered, "Who are you really?" But the mirror didn't answer. She changed wigs, changed accents, changed characters, but the hollow in her soul remained untouched. "She brings so much joy to others," I said quietly, almost defensively, "but she has none left for herself." Jesus nodded.
She gives her light to others, but never received mine. She believes her worth is tied to cameras and claps, and when the lights turn off, she thinks she disappears.
Then I saw her as a child, a little girl dancing in her living room, trying to make her parents smile, performing, always performing, even when it hurt. The wound from that little girl had never healed. It had just been buried under fame. I clutched my chest. The grief was overwhelming. I wanted to reach into the vision and hold her. "Can she be free?" I asked. Jesus looked at me with a tenderness that broke me.
Yes, but only through me. Tell them to pray for her, not as a star, but as a lost daughter. Tell them that the love they're searching for in people like her can only be found in me.
The screen changed again. I saw her in a massive mansion, surrounded by awards, gold statues, framed autographs, fan letters stacked in unopened boxes. And yet, she looked smaller than ever, curled up on a designer couch like a forgotten child waiting for anyone to see her. Then I heard it, not a shout, not a performance, just a broken voice barely above a whisper. "God, if you're real, can you still see me?" I collapsed into tears. I had laughed at her jokes, admired her boldness, envied her fame, but now I knew the truth. She was breaking, and no amount of applause could put her back together. The vision began to fade like a dream slipping through my hands. But before it disappeared, Jesus spoke once more.
Tell my people to stop worshiping faces that were never meant to be gods. Many who smile on stage are crying in the dark, and I am the only one who can heal them.
I wept, not just for her, but for us all, for how easily we trade the Savior for celebrities, the cross for content, the presence of God for the presence of strangers on our screens. The next image was already forming, but I wasn't ready because my heart was still carrying the sound of her weeping. The image began to shift again. The soft sorrow from the previous vision dissolved into something colder, sharper, heavier. The atmosphere changed. The colors around us dimmed. I felt it instantly. This wasn't about loneliness now. This was about power and pride. The light on the sky screen condensed into a sleek office tower, rising like a spear into the clouds. Chrome and glass, sharp angles, no curves, no warmth. A name I won't speak aloud flashed on the side of the building. But I knew him. Everyone did. A tech billionaire, a man whose face was printed on magazines, quoted in headlines, and revered as a genius, almost like a messiah of the digital age. He wasn't a singer. He wasn't a movie star. He was something bigger. The world called him a visionary, the one who would save us from our problems with science, code, and machines. "He's brilliant," I whispered. "He's changing the world." Jesus stood beside me watching the screen. His face didn't move, but his spirit was grieving.
Yes, but he is changing it without me.
The vision zoomed in. I saw him giving a speech on a grand stage, thousands of eyes fixed on him, hanging on his every word. Behind him, futuristic images played colonies on Mars ship, implants like extension programs, AI gods, eternal youth. The crowd cheered. They believed. They worshipped. But I didn't feel hope. I felt a chill in my bones.
He believes he can escape death, but he denies the only one who defeated it.
The screen shifted. I was taken inside his private world. No cameras, no fans, just cold silence. I saw him walking through his mansion walls of glass, endless hallways, technology in every corner. But no joy, no children's laughter, no prayers. He passed by family members like they were assistants. His staff avoided his eyes. His presence was terrifying. He was not violent. He didn't need to be. His brilliance was his weapon. His pride was his shield. And he used them both to dominate, to control, to shape the world in his image.
He speaks of humanity's salvation, but only sees himself as the Savior. He builds towers of Babel with wires and code, believing he can reach heaven without me.
I saw him in a private lab looking at test tubes, brain scans, cryochambers. He whispered to his scientists, "We'll beat death. We'll live forever." I felt something inside me twist. "He's trying to become a god," I whispered. Jesus nodded solemnly.
He thinks his money can buy time, but time belongs to me. He has been given a mind to serve the world, but he has used it to build his own kingdom. The vision intensified. I saw companies crushed, innovators silenced, small businesses destroyed under his empire, people losing jobs to automation, children addicted to devices he created, families falling apart in the very system he built, all in the name of progress. He did not build an empire. He built a machine that feeds on souls.
Then I saw something that made me gasp. His hands were on a child, not hurting him, but plugging something into the back of his neck. A chip, a connection, a control. The child's eyes dulled. His thoughts weren't his own anymore. "No," I murmured. "What is this?"
He did not build an empire. He built a machine that feeds on souls.
I fell to my knees. I felt the storm in the spirit realm. Thunder without sound. Judgment drawing near.
This is what happens when you remove the creator from creation. Man will try to rewrite the design.
The sky screen began to darken. I saw shadows, moving economic collapse, civil unrest, secrets being exposed, health suddenly failing. His empire trembled. I saw headlines flash, corruption exposed, AI gone rogue, investor panic. I saw him standing alone, screaming into silence. And no one answered. No algorithm, no code, no cure.
His foundation is built on sand Gelai, and a storm is coming.
I couldn't speak. The weight of it all was too much. Not just his story, but what it meant for us all. "Lord," I whispered, "if even the brilliant fall, what hope is there for the rest of us?" Jesus turned to me, his voice suddenly fierce with holy urgency.
When he stands before me, all his wealth will be dust. He will not be judged by his achievements, but by his heart, and it is hardened.
I wept. I wept not because he was harsh, but because he was right. I had once envied men like him, admired them, quoted them, trusted them, but now I saw the truth. They were clay, like all of us, dust pretending to be divine. The screen began to fade. My heart was heavy, my mind was spinning, and yet I felt Jesus' hand on my shoulder, steady, warm, unshakable.
Hope is not found in power, or fame, or intelligence. Hope is found in me. I alone am the way, the truth, and the life. You have seen what few have seen. Now you must understand why.
I fell to my knees again, not out of awe this time, but out of anguish. Please, I whispered, my voice shaking like a child's. Please let me stay. I don't want to go back. Not after this. Not after seeing you. My whole being trembled with the ache of heaven. How could I return to that loud, heavy world after tasting this peace? How could I go back to the noise of monitors, the beeping machines, the exhaustion, the spiritual silence? My face pressed into the floor of that eternal place, and I sobbed. I'm tired, Lord. I'm so tired. Behind that whisper was a lifetime of silent grief, the pain of watching patients die, the guilt of rushed prayers, the shame of distant worship, the fatigue of pretending to be strong for everyone but myself. Jesus knelt beside me. His presence was like sunlight wrapping a shivering child.
My precious Gelai, I know you are tired. I have seen every moment you carried pain alone, but your race is not yet finished.
I didn't want to hear that. I clenched my fists. But they won't believe me, I whispered. They'll say I'm crazy, just a tired nurse who hallucinated. They'll mock your name. He placed his hand near my face, not touching. Yet it burned into my soul like fire and peace at the same time.
Even if they do not believe you, speak. Even if they call you foolish, tell them, because one day they will remember.
His words were firm, but his eyes held tears, not weakness, but compassion. I looked into those eyes and saw the pain of the world reflected back. I saw millions chasing shadows. I saw youth lost in screens, starving for love. I saw churches full of laughter but empty of repentance. I saw mothers crying in silence, and I saw his heart breaking for every single one. What do you want me to do? I asked, voice trembling.
Be my voice, be my hands, be my heart among the broken. You will touch patience, not just to heal bodies, but to awaken souls. You will walk back into darkness, carrying light.
I sobbed again, but this time it wasn't out of fear. It was surrender. But Lord, I don't know how. He smiled.
You won't do it alone. I will be with you, even until the end of the age.
His hand moved to my forehead, and the moment his light touched me, warmth surged through my spirit like liquid fire. It felt like identity, like purpose, like a holy vow written into my bones.
Tell them I am real. Tell them I am coming. Tell them I am still waiting.
Every part of me still longed to stay, to remain in that perfect love forever. But as his words entered me, I knew it was time. Then he whispered one final promise.
It is only for a little while, Gelai. Then you will come home, and this time you will stay.
And with that, everything shifted. The light around me shattered like glass. I was falling, falling fast, back into gravity, back into weight, back into the world. I gasped violently. My chest burned. My eyes flew open. Fluorescent lights, beeping monitors, the sharp scent of alcohol and metal. She's back. Marivic screamed. She's breathing. I was soaked in sweat. My body ached from head to toe. But deep inside me, something had changed. I had been with him, and now I had work to do. They called it a miracle. 21 minutes without a heartbeat, no brain damage, no organ failure. The doctors couldn't explain it. It's medically impossible, one of them said, scratching his head. Mang Enzo just shook his head and whispered, Gelai, someone up there still wants you here. I didn't try to explain. Not yet. How could I? How do you describe heaven to people who barely believe in prayer? How do you describe the eyes of Jesus to people still chasing selfies and likes? I just smiled faintly, because deep down I knew they wouldn't understand until the shaking begins. When I left the ICU, I wasn't the same woman. Something inside me had changed. No, not just changed, been reborn. I looked at people differently. Not just patients, not just co-workers. I saw souls, eternal beloved souls, some dying without anyone noticing. I went back to work a month later, but this time I wasn't just wearing a nurse's uniform. I was wearing a mantle. When I walked into rooms, I could feel the fear in their eyes. Not just physical fear, but spiritual fear. The fear of death, the fear of being forgotten, the fear of being alone in the dark. I no longer just asked for vitals. I asked if I could pray. Some rolled their eyes, others wept. I told them about peace, not the kind found in pills, but the kind found when you kneel before the one who made you. I told them I had seen him, that he's real, that he's near, and most of all, that he's waiting. My husband Marco still holds me tighter at night. He says I cry in my sleep now, not in fear but in worship. Josh, my son, doesn't fight about screen time anymore. He asks me what Jesus sounds like. I told him. It didn't sound like thunder. It felt like home. But I didn't come back just to whisper bedtime stories about heaven. I came back with a warning, one that burns in my bones every time I scroll social media, every time I hear someone obsess over celebrities, every time I see my own people idolizing names that will not be remembered in eternity. So let me say this clearly with the fire heaven branded into me. Who are you worshiping? What name is on your lips? Is it the name of a rock star, a beautiful actress, a powerful billionaire, a TikTok trend, your favorite preacher? Or is it the name that demons still tremble at, the name above every name? The name that still saves, still heals, still loves, Jesus.
Tell them I am coming. Tell them to look away from the dying stars and turn to the one who holds the heavens.
That's what he told me. And so I am telling you, because many of those stars, the ones you idolize, will fall. Not just in scandal, not just in sickness. Some will die this year. Yes, this year, not as punishment, but as a sign.
When the idols fall, do not fall with them. Turn your eyes to me before the earth shakes.
You may think I'm dramatic. You may think I'm just a nurse who survived cardiac arrest. But I died, and I met him, and he sent me back for you. So if you're tired, like I was, if you're angry, bitter, distracted, if you're worshiping in church on Sundays but bowing to the world the rest of the week,
come home. My arms are still open. My heart still beats for you. I am still waiting.
this isn't about fame. It's not about fear. It's about eternity, and time is short. Heaven is real, Jesus is real, and He's calling your name right now. Can you hear Him?